Welcome everyone to the Avengers podcast, where we talk Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and more. I'm your host Torrin, and with me is my co-host Peyton, along with Will.
Who's saying? Okay, you're saying hi.
I beat you to the punch.
I am. What's going on, everyone? Yeah, Will's back. Last time we had, well, how long ago was that? We were talking about MCU fatigue. I don't know. That was like episode 30 something.
Feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah. But now we're back to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special because Will here is our resident Guardians of the Galaxy fanatic. So yeah, he's here to aid in that conversation. But of course, before that, we have the news of the week, and then we'll get into that. But before that, what have you guys watched this week? Anything good?
All right, you can go ahead.
Let me see. I haven't really been watching anything recently.
Not Andor.
You certainly haven't watching Andor.
Oh my god. God, dude, I will never get over that.
It'll be easy to get over it if you just watched it.
Okay. All right. I have nothing to say about that. But I will get to Andor. I will say that.
You'll get to Andor today.
I will get to Andor today. I'm gonna be going back home. I don't know when, but when I do, I'm turning on my TV and watching Andor. I will binge it.
Good.
Binge King will be back.
Yes.
Yeah, it deserves a thorough binge.
By the way, if Torrin's audio ever goes scuffed, it's because he's on his phone.
No, it's just normal.
Yeah, you're right. It's just because the Blue Yeti is a trash microphone. Not really. I can't say that. It's good for the budget. No, I'm not. Okay. But it's good for the budget. It's fair enough.
Dude, I'm running like a Razer headset. It's like, I think it's like one of like the most basic ones.
Bro, I was using that as a microphone back when I was doing like YouTube back in the day. Back in the day was like 5 years ago. But like recording in Audacity, oh my God, the audio was so bad. And I didn't know how to like do any like audio engineering type stuff. So it was awful.
Dude, I'm working on a video essay. I'm working on a video essay about how Shadow the Hedgehog's character arc should be preserved in the next Sonic movie. It's like a really comprehensive thing, and I'm like, it's looking like it's going to be like 45 minutes long. I've never made a video before.
Dang.
And I have like a lot recorded, and I'm using Audacity, and I'm surprised the audio is as okay as it is, but it feels like I'm working with like a dinosaur.
In Audacity? Audacity's fucking awesome.
No, dude. It sucks.
No,
sorry.
It's great if you know what effects to use and shit. It's great.
Yeah, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm literally just recording and.
Nah, man, you gotta use noise canceling. You gotta use bass boost, treble. You gotta some other stuff, limiters, compressor. I mean, yeah.
Sorry, dude. You're just gonna have to live with it whenever it's out. Whenever my video essay's out. Sorry.
All right.
Sorry, I'm editing it in Premiere Pro.
Well, did you watch anything, Will, this week?
Andor?
Yeah.
So good.
It's so good. I mean, it was the finale. Of course, we're not talking about it because Torrin hasn't seen it.
No, look.
Maybe if he binges it all by next week, we can talk about it next week. But, I don't know.
That, Andor, and, I don't know. My brother's been watching Wednesday. He says it's really good. I'm interested in Wednesday, but I haven't started it yet.
I watched the first, 5, I think, are out. 5 episodes of Titans, the new season. It's been solid, but it's at the series is at a breaking point because every season of Titans starts out pretty strong and then it just completely goes downhill. And right now it's at the point in the show, it's at that tipping point where they're either going to pull through or it's going to get real bad real quick. And dude, I'm dreading it, but it's Titans is very much a guilty pleasure show because even the good stuff, it's not that great.
Yeah, Doom Patrol's the thing.
Yeah,
Doom Patrol's the thing, and it's consistently solid.
It really is. Oh, the new season's coming out relatively soon, or the first half of the new season, that is. But
I'm so excited. Titans just. I think with Titans for me, it's hard for me to get over the vibe. I think the aesthetic, and also Jason's actor. I think.
Well, luckily he hasn't been in this new
big
season, so that's been nice. But yeah, other than like Jason, everyone's pretty well cast. Like
Connor is well cast.
Yes,
really well
he's
cast,
great.
in my opinion.
Brendan Thwaites as Dick is God. He's so good. I wish he wasn't wasted in that show. Rachel's
characterization wise, you think?
Just as an actor, as that character, the character could be written better, but he's great.
I mean, he probably because he gives a shit about the character.
Yeah, yeah.
And more than the writers do.
Yeah, you're right. But this past week was Thanksgiving, so hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving that's listening to this. If you celebrate,
dude, shut up.
I'm sorry.
No one wants to hear that.
You're right. But in honor of Thanksgiving, I rewatched Spider-Man 1, Raimi's Spider-Man 1, which, as everyone knows, is a Thanksgiving movie. And fuck, I love that movie. I love that movie so much.
It's solid.
It's the ultimate nostalgia movie for me. Everything about it.
Really? That's your go-to ultimate nostalgia movie?
Oh yeah. That and Revenge of the Sith. But yeah.
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith for me. Yeah. Raimi, for me, Spider-Man 3 out of the Raimi trilogy that's my comfort movie out of the three of them.
I had Spider-Man 1 on repeat as a kid. just on a constant loop. If I ever got tired of it, put on Revenge of the Sith, watch that on loop. But yeah, Spider-Man 1 definitely. Ooh, so good. But yeah, like I said, news of the week, Guardians of the Galaxy. If there's time codes in the description or the show notes, if you want to jump around, you can go ahead and do that. But let's talk about the news. There's literally like 3 pieces of news. So let's start off with this. This is according to a Hollywood Reporter and was then confirmed by Disney themselves. Bob Iger is back as CEO of Disney, effective immediately, replacing Bob Chapek or Chapek. I don't know the fuck you pronounce this bald man's name. Good news on the whole. We were talking about it in the Discord, but Bob Iger was both for and against TVMA content on Disney Plus. He seemed fine with rated R stuff because he reassured people multiple times that like Deadpool would stay rated R, but like on Disney Plus, he didn't want mature stuff going on Disney Plus. So now it's like, I don't know what's going on. Daredevil, like we literally talked about last week. Apparently there was a rumor that Daredevil had a good chance of being, or Born Again, that is, had a good chance of being TVMA, and now it's up in the air, but maybe because it's already in motion, that maybe he'll be like, nah, it's cool. And also that TVMA, like Deadpool and Logan and, Daredevil, the original series, is already on Disney Plus, so unless they move it over to Hulu, maybe it'll be fine.
I just, I'm not usually the guy to be like, this character or property needs to be TVMA to work. I genuinely think most things can work in PG-13 fine as long as you have a really good characterization story. I don't think good characterization necessarily means you need to have gore or whatever, all this stuff. But for me, and this is something, and I know we talked about this in the MCU fatigue video or video podcast, that episode. For me, I think for the sake of variety, which is, we're at the tail end of phase 4, and I have this kind of a thought over the whole thing, which is, in my opinion, y'all remember the feeling of watching WandaVision when it first came out, right? Like the wonder, the like, wow, this is so weird, this is so different.
Oh yeah.
And then it's over, and it's not bad, but it's like, the mystery solved, and in my opinion, it was like still safely handled. I think that it's kind of the MO for the entirety of phase 4, where we all thought it would be pushing weird things, and at least in my opinion, on the surface level and on paper, everything pushes for weird, cool, exciting things. But then in actuality, it's executed, all of it, very safe and very consistent, to the point where I ache for variety. That's why I think Werewolf by Night, the holiday special, Loki, like those things, in my opinion, especially Werewolf by Night, it's like standout. And like TVMA, Born Again is TVMA. That's like going to be better for variety's sake. They're going to be able to handle things a bit more seriously, and I think it'll also be easier to write for it. I think it'll be like easier to make, less things they have to worry about, less chances to compromise the character and his integrity. Not that obviously it's a given if it's PG-13 that Daredevil's character is compromised. It's just that it's much easier, in my opinion, to get that part of the world wrong with PG-13. And again, if it's PG-13, I kind of sense like I don't want another show that is good, but then there's a but at the end of it, and that but is it feels like Marvel Disney Plus. I don't want that.
Well, the first good sign is that they're actually filming in New York, so that's fantastic.
Oh, cool! On location, like,
yeah.
Nice.
Yes, that's fantastic, which is what they did for the original series. Vincent D'Onofrio has been talking highly of it, but at the same time, of course, he would.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. TVMA obviously doesn't have to be a factor when it comes to blood and gore, but it certainly helps with storytelling. I mean, Jessica Jones had a rape plot line. There's no way that would fly in a PG-13 series. So it certainly opens a lot of doors for storytelling. But yeah, if if the blood's toned down, who gives a shit? I mean, the Batman, right? I mean, that was pretty brutal at times, and that was relatively bloodless. So
yeah,
it still works.
Well, I do think also, if something was rated PG-13, I don't know how willing Disney would be to push the limit to make how like, I don't know. I mean, I guess if they'd be willing to make a TVMA thing, they wouldn't care how hard their PG-13 is.
I think they've been very gradually pushing the limit. Very gradually, mind you, but
yeah.
Because like, I mean, Multiverse of Madness had for Marvel, some relatively shocking things. Again, Black for Bolt's Marvel.
Yeah, Black Bolt's death literally put a lump in my chest. I was like, wow, like that was like actually genuinely disturbing to watch the first time I saw it. I was like, whoa. Okay.
I even in the beginning of the film, like when whatever they were fucking fighting at the beginning, Defender Strange and America Chavez, and Strange got stabbed through the leg and it had that close up. I was like, oh, even that was just a bit more than we'd usually get. But the only really other thing I can think of as far as like brutality is Moon Knight. But like we see blood. We see more blood than we'd usually get, but we don't actually see the actual fighting where the blood came from. And then Falcon the Winter Soldier with the blood on the shield, which that was pretty brutal. And, usually we wouldn't see that blood. Well,
it had an impact.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes we still get like, skip like 30 seconds if you haven't seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I'm giving you time. Okay. Skip. At the end when Namor stabs Shuri and then she pulls herself off the thing, it's bloodless. There's no blood on that freaking spear. I was like,
bloodless, but I still think that, in my opinion, that was still some of the most brutal.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Fighting, I'd ever seen. And
I agree. That's what I mean. Like you can do that brutality without that blood. But it's just that they're very slowly pulling the boundaries, or pushing the boundaries rather.
I always chalk that up to just the suit. That's why there's no blood. It's the suit. It's magical. It's cool.
Nah.
Yeah. Yes. Torin, help. Torin, go help. Peyton's hurting me.
Wow. Don't do that.
Thank you.
But yeah, like I definitely agree with like TVMA is always like one of those like it's always like for me like I kind of see it as like a limbo type of thing, because like what at times it can be good, but I feel like some people always rely on things being like TVMA just so like we can get the content we want. And I mean, of course, like we've said it before, but like there are times where like PG-13 stuff can be like fine, and things can be pushed. But yeah, and like you said, Peyton, like Marvel's gradually, like slowly but surely, going towards a way to where like there's more like blood and stuff like that, or more violence or things.
And I mean, I personally, again, I hate that notion that TVMA, something being TVMA, immediately legitimizes it over PG-13.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I just, it's one of those things where like, it would be cool if something was rated R, but it's not always needed. And I've been seeing this like a lot. Like, of course, you know, over the past couple of years, where it's like, oh my god, this thing should be rated R, and like blah 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 blah. And it's like, not every, like, just because something's rated R doesn't make it like good.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it can be easier for writers, but it's not instantly good.
Yeah, and like it's one thing to have a great rated R movie, but it's also another thing to have like a really great PG-13 movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, because everyone can enjoy it too. I hate that, like, you know, because they're still out there. You know, like there are plenty of teenagers who like see R movies and stuff, but I think you're still alienating a certain amount of people from your story with an R rating. So that's the fine line. I think that's like we saw it with Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad, but where box office not so great, but it was amazing, and Gunn personally felt his story needed to be that. It was that, and he nailed it. But again, that's the trade-off, I think, with unless you're Deadpool and you just have such mass appeal. If it's R, I don't know. You guys see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly a fine line, and also, but yeah, like Deadpool, I mean, he just has a cult following and stuff like that, and obviously that first movie, word of mouth, and then Deadpool 2 is obviously, now that the word's out and whatnot, and like the Suicide Squad, both released in the pandemic, and a lot of people, not general audiences at least, not being able to disconnect it from 2016. So that hurt it a lot. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it could be more impressive if PG-13. Like, I mean, look at Andor. Torn hasn't seen it, but like that has a lot of like brutal moments that you feel. But Star Wars, including Andor, very bloodless. But it doesn't matter really, because the story, the politics within that show, it's still very dark and mature, and you don't. I mean, in that case, you don't need that TVMA rating.
Yeah, and especially in something like Andor is full of gut punches. They're like whether it's with characters, whether it's with just like the realness, how prescient it is in our lives, like how relevant it is, the content and the points that it has to make. But I don't know. I just think it's interesting that it's not MA and it's able to do all that. And it seems like it's able to do all that with ease. But I mean, everyone involved is just so talented, and Lucasfilm is just thankfully given them the sort of tools and the faith that they needed to kind of pull that off.
And a budget.
Yep.
Unlike Obi-Wan, they gave them scraps.
Dude, and look, I will always staunchly defend Obi-Wan.
Same.
It was bloated, but I really, though, it did it for me. But it's night and day with Andor. Really. I really hope, and I know it's not getting the best viewership. I think it's now that word of mouth is getting around and more people are giving it a chance, it's doing a little better. I think, I don't know. I can't really speak to that for sure, but hopefully Disney doesn't learn the wrong lesson and are like, hey,
let's do more stories about already established characters. I mean, technically Andor is, but you know what I mean.
Or stories just without the gravitas as this. Like I don't mind getting a Yoda show if it's as like compelling, thematically and emotionally resonant as Andor. You know, it does a lot. And Andor makes every bit of Star Wars better. It does, like, truly make the OT better. It makes prequels better. It makes it's like a godsend. It's amazing.
And there's always room for stuff like Boba Fett and Obi-Wan. Like, those exist for a reason.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, this next piece of news, this is according to Daniel RPK. It's rumored that Marvel Studios is looking for a Ryan Gosling type to play an evil Superman type role in the MCU's Thunderbolts movie. Whether it's Hyperion or Sentry is unclear, but it seems scoopers are leaning more towards Sentry than Hyperion.
Oh, I can't wait to see Barack Obama as a Sentry. Honestly, like what the hell would they even do against Sentry? I mean, of course, I just don't know. But I mean, Sentry is also a really nice addition to the MCU. People have been wanting him for like a decade at this point. But I mean, we'll see how it goes with Sentry in the MCU.
As underwhelmed as I was with Thunderbolts lineup of characters, Sentry is so like, that's like palpitations from excitement. You know what I mean? Like, Sentry is just so iconic to Marvel readers. You know, like I would argue as important in the comics as someone like Winter Soldier is. So to see him in the movie would be awesome. And eventually, hopefully, we see him rip a good version of Carnage in half in space.
A good version.
A good version of Carnage. Yeah, that was subtle.
Sorry, I hate Venom too.
That's fine. Because Payne does not like the Venom movies either.
Oh, I'm a huge Venom fan. He's like so important to me. The comics are my faves. I think Rick Remender's Agent Venom storyline, I was just called Venom, but it's Flash in the suit, and then also Donny Cates's Venom and like King in Black and all that stuff. I think it's astounding. And then like we get, I think Tom Hardy's a good cast, but like the Venom movies are trash.
Awful.
They're trash. They're worthless to me.
Horrible.
And I've coped with it. I've already coped with it. You know, I don't care. At this point,
they're gonna keep making it because they keep making a shit ton of money.
I hate that.
I don't understand. I mean, Torn likes them.
Oh, I'm glad.
They're fine. Like,
clearly, general audiences fucking love it for some reason. I don't get it.
It's fun. I mean, it can be fun, and like I think the second one's better than the first, but like
barely.
But I think the first. I think the most damning thing the first one did was Riot was awful, and I also think that the final fight in the third act was visually the most stupid, confusing thing I've ever watched, because you have two symbiotes that are so similar in color fighting at nighttime in the base station launch bay.
I was just about to say that. I was like, dude, I can't see shit.
It looks the same. And then that's why Carnage is the perfect Venom villain in a movie like that, because the contrast is like night and day. You know exactly who you're looking at all times. And of course, I can tell Riot from Venom, but not when they're tangled up in each other at nighttime in front of a freaking NASA rocket. I don't know.
And like I said it in Torn and I's Venom 2 review, like for the third one, they cannot do a symbiote. Please, and like it's just goo slapping together for a third. I don't care. I mean, audiences don't care, but I care that it's.
I love symbiotes.
I love symbiotes too, but we can't just have that shit 3 times in a row. Change it up a bit.
I just think that the way they do the fights is not as. I don't like when the goo separate of the fists does the fighting. Like, if there were more intimate moments where they were literally up close, like punching, kicking, like throwing, clawing, you know, trying to rip each other in half with their like arms and hands, versus like, I hate the moments where the goo separates from the people. and they like fight, because it's weightless. It's not satisfying.
Sure.
In the comics, I mean, like Venom fighting like a group of people and like biting their heads off, and like that's the most fun thing to watch, in my opinion. So I think honestly, Agent Venom, if they got it right, would make an amazing movie. I think that would literally translate so well to the screen. But I don't know. I think they can do Venom well too. It's just they haven't yet.
Well, after No Way Home, leaving that symbiote behind, I mean, we could actually get a decent version of Venom. It seems like,
I'm excited.
I mean, apparently it was rumored that was Marvel's plan anyway, but then Sony had to go and make the fucking Venom movies. But now leaving that symbiote behind, Tom Holland might have made a new deal and Secret Wars and whatever. So, I mean, it could work out, I guess. But
yeah,
is what it is. But this next piece of news, Yan Demange, apologies for my pronunciation, who directed the pilot episode for Lovecraft Country, is set to direct Blade. So we finally got a new director. They also got a new writer. So that's finally getting underway.
I'm so excited. Blade's the one thing I'm just like, I am freaking out.
I'm glad it's the person from Lovecraft Country, because I heard that's really good.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's on HBO Max. I haven't gotten the chance to watch it, but I heard Jonathan Majors is a really great addition to it.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the writer to be Michael Waldron.
True. Well, it's not Michael Waldron, but
I know. I was kidding. Because people hate Michael Waldron.
Blade just needs for one project to be in like production hell, for it to be Blade. That is heartbreaking. I think I don't know. I feel like
Blade's just so simple to do.
He has to be rated R. Otherwise, it's trash.
I think that, like, I mean, yes, there's a legacy you have to live up to. And I understand wanting to do your own creative thing. And I think that that's possible and necessary. But I don't think it should be at the cost of Blade being an action movie and at the cost of a really dark tone. I think the Lovecraft Country writer or
director,
coming in to work on it is going to be to its favor, right? For sure. Or in its favor. Yeah.
I didn't write the writer down because I'm an idiot, but I remember looking him up and he doesn't have a ton of credits.
It's James Marsden.
Oh.
From Cyclops.
I don't think, no.
He says, I don't care if it's racist, I will write it. And I said, that's messed up. But he said that.
I don't think that's what he said.
He even said it in X-Men 2. There's a scene where Wolverine is like kissing Jean and he's like, hey, I'm going to be writing Blade for the MCU.
They go, what's the MCU? And he's like, you'll know.
You'll understand.
In a few years.
Yeah, Kevin Feige's in the background nodding his head in that scene. But yeah.
He was on set the whole time.
Dude, but he was, though. I mean, Feige was producer role in those movies.
Yeah.
X-Men movies. Dude, Gunn is going to destroy the MCU.
I know, right? He's going to make Feige his bitch.
No, but I'm serious. I don't think it's going to be like, that. But I think they have such a clear advantage over Marvel right now to be different and fill a niche, because as good as the Marvel movies still are, they're still good, but there's always a but. Like, it's good, but in my opinion, at least, I don't know. I just think DC is set up and poised in every way to just kind of knock Marvel out of the water and then get some competition in to where we get a rivalry between the two.
In the first place.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, there should be I would just want a rivalry between the two of them that we deserve as fans, versus Marvel's on top for like so long, like a decade. And then
if DC does well, then Marvel does well, because they have to.
Yeah.
And obviously DC's just been floundering. But Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a couple years till anything really happens.
I'm excited. Gunn
Yeah,
said he's to shareholders and to internally.
in
Him and
January.
Peter are revealing their 10-year plan for
Yeah.
DC.
A 10-year plan that starts in like 17 years.
No, dude, because Zaslav is like, we need it now. Like
Because they've always had this
dying.
like, oh, we have a 10-year plan. Look at all these movies, and then they cancel them and they keep delaying them or whatever. But now, like, actually hiring Peter Safran and James Gunn. Okay, well, I trust these guys, and I know that they'll actually do a plan, you know. But at the same time, I mean, I imagine it, unless I don't know, Gunn just decides he doesn't like the job. I imagine he'll probably renew his contract to stay the head of DC Studios. Because only 4 years. I mean, you can only do so much, you know. I guess he could just make a plan, maybe like produce a couple movies and he's out. But I don't think he'll do that. But you know, we'll see.
No, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, speaking of James Gunn, he obviously came out with his Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special this past Friday on Disney Plus. So here we are. Now, Will, as the Guardians of the Galaxy fanatic, as the Guardians of the Galaxy stan, as the Guardians of the Galaxy expert, what are your feelings on this holiday special? By the way, we're just doing spoilers because it's just a 40-minute fucking special. Who cares?
Spoilers. Yeah. What the hell? First of all, what the hell are you doing here if you haven't seen it? But dude, you know, I know I'm biased. I'm really biased, like really biased, but I thought it was perfect. I thought it was just about perfect. And I think that, I mean, Drax and Mantis are phenomenal. And now that they finally have a chance to shine and like do their thing as these characters that I just think that they mesh so well together. Like they're such like unique personalities. And we got to see some in Guardians 2 and a little bit afterwards, you know, like here and there, popcorn, little breadcrumbs and Infinity War and stuff. But like to get a special dedicated to them, and to have it be 44 minutes long and be so well put together and paced. Like there was room enough for such emotional resonance and like amazing entertainment, and probably some of them I've been, you know, some of the most entertaining Marvel in Phase 4 to me. But you know, I definitely Star-Lord's my favorite character. So the little reveal at the end, which, you know, you could have kind of guessed, and I think a lot of people did guess. So it's not a really massive reveal.
Didn't help that they spoiled it.
And it didn't help that they did that. Nope, that's really fucked up. But the fact that it was a big deal to Peter, and seeing his reaction to it, and Mantis, I don't know. I thought it was amazing because, you know, Peter's lost. I mean, they've all lost so much. That's like the point. But I mean, Peter, when he was a kid, he lost the one woman he loved more than anything else in the world. His mom was abducted, and then found someone else he loved just as much in Gamora, and she was killed. And to see his like, and I will never, ever hate the character for doing this. I know people are still upset and call it like indefensible. Him punching Thanos, seeing him lash out like that was human. And I was like,
human,
oh my God.
In
like,
character.
in character. And it's not like, yeah, he's a doofus, but dude, if you're right there in front of like, and you learned that the only person you cared about as much as your mom who died was gone, at the hands of her abusive father, and he was right in front of you and in such a compromised position, who wouldn't react so emotionally unless you were like Spock or like a genius or someone with a forethought, you know? But that's like losing, you know, someone, I don't know, but I know it's a tangent, but then for him to kind of, and he already has had Mantis for a long time, and the rest of his family and the Guardians, but to like for Mantis to be like, hey, like I'm your sister, and I wanted to do this for you because I cared about you, and her reasons for keeping that a secret and all of that stuff culminating in like his response to her and the hug. I don't know, man. I've been going on for a really long time. That made me cry. It was a lot for me. And it's one of those reminders. It's like, I know in between the times that James Gunn is doing stuff, there are a lot of people out there, not me, but there are a lot of people who kind of doubt his abilities, especially with him as the new head guy for the DCU. But like, he did a holiday special and he did it so well that it manages to do so much in 44 minutes. And everything he's done in the superhero space has been just phenomenal critically. It's like, yeah, like this guy knows what he's doing. He's so character first. He gives a shit, you know? I don't know. That's pretty much my thoughts. So
I disagree completely.
Okay.
I thought this was, I thought it was really average and really predictable.
Well, you know what? It's fine because I don't need friends. I actually don't need you guys as friends.
You know, something like that. That's what I would say if I was a dumbass, because this special, I mean, automatically, this is a yearly watch.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, God.
Just, it's a James Gunn special. It's full of fun. It's full of joy. It's full of heart. Just everything about it. I mean, it opens up with that little animated bit, which I was like, whoa,
so good, so good. Oh my gosh! Like it reminds me, it fits the tone of those old like 60s specials perfectly, and the rotoscope and it being still slightly off. So good.
Yeah, and then like it is. Towards the end, it gets a little predictable, but like in a good way, because it's still a holiday special. Like, you know, Kevin Bacon, he's afraid or whatever, and then Quill's sad or whatever. Oh, okay, bring Christmas cheer back to Quill. It's pretty standard stuff, but it's just
I think it helps it, you know.
Exactly. Like when you can have, I don't want to say overdone, but you can have like sort of cliche things. As long as it's executed well, it doesn't matter. And this is executed flawlessly. I mean, like you said, it's like 40 minutes long, and he manages to pack in so much story in so little time, while also setting up certain things, introducing new characters. Like we got Cosmo in this, who's the best girl.
Yay. Yes.
Seeing Mantis more, because obviously we saw her a good amount in Guardians 2, and she was a fun introduction. We get to see her a little bit more in Infinity War, but obviously she's not really the focus. So, but she has, you know, fun moments. But actually getting to see her at the forefront, and especially getting to actually see her do some action sequences, was really, really fun. And Drax he's Drax. But yeah, his relationship and banter with Mantis and those two actors just bouncing off each other, it's just done so well. And them going to Earth and the sequence, the part where Drax gets mad at the GoBot because the GoBot killed his cousin.
Yes, that was, and him in the background, like
punching him
in the end of the montage. Yeah, good payoff. Good
so
setup.
Good, so
good.
And also confirms GoBots are canon in the MCU.
Dude, so much is canon now. Batman, Margot Robbie is an actress in the MCU. John Cena is an actor in the MCU.
I was trying to. I should have paused it because I didn't.
Yeah,
I only saw John Cena. I couldn't process all the other actors, but I didn't go back. I should have.
There was Flula Borg was in the bar too.
Yeah.
He played Javelin. Yeah. That. So it's so good. I mean, and I love how involved James is with the people he makes movies with, and like the relationships he's able to sustain. You know, it leads to such awesome things.
He's one of those directors similar to like a Nolan or a Tarantino, where he likes to reuse actors.
Yeah.
And it's I always love that because it's fun. Like, oh, he got a whoever back, and it's always fun to see. But there was also the part where after they got drunk or whatever, and the lady tries to give them the little pamphlet or whatever for $40, and she's like, "Give me all your money."
Yeah,
just straight
really
up robs this lady. So
no,
good.
I love the pure like unadulterated moments of like character that was and it was just so funny too. And also I kind of like how because before in my the way that I viewed it was like, oh, like when she gets people to sleep, it's more of it's such a strong suggestion that she does some chemical thing that they just fall asleep. I didn't think she could literally like, hey, do this, you know what I mean? Like basically not mind control, but it's like mind control light. Yeah,
because up to this point she could like feel feelings and make people fall. Yeah, I guess we haven't really seen that. Huh.
It was interesting. I mean someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I whenever I rewatch these movies, Infinity War is the one I watch as less consistently as I'm watching the Guardians franchise. But you know,
pretty sure
I still consider that
Infinity War
a Guardians 2.5 to me.
Infinity War
for me.
No, yeah, I mean that makes sense. But yeah, I think the only thing Mantis did as far as like using her powers was wake up Thor and then put Thanos to sleep.
Yeah, which was such a big slay, such a girl boss moment, putting Thanos to sleep. But Torin, what are your thoughts?
I agree with like everything y'all said, and I think like because of the success by Werewolf by Night, that special presentations are like one of the best things that's happened to Marvel so far. With the addition of the Guardian special, this was like super fun. Honestly, I enjoyed it. Enjoyed the beginning a lot. The addition of Kevin Bacon was amazing. He was, a delight. Just like you said with, Drax and Mantis being at the forefront and like getting more character development was just like a sight to see. The chemistry was just amazing. But yeah, like this was just, I had a blast watching this. I smiled like almost like throughout like the way through. Cosmo best girl. Groot was juiced up. He's on GMO steroids.
He looked phenomenal as far as VFX goes, because James Gunn has said on multiple occasions now there's zero practicality to him. He's 100% visual effects.
Wait, 100%?
100%.
Yeah,
that is absolutely insane because it looks like a guy in a foam suit, but like
yeah.
I know there's some movements like him like hopping up and down that are like,
obviously
CGI.
And obviously his face, but
yeah. And wow,
like when Star-Lord pats him on the shoulder.
That is good tracking, dude. In the trailer, I was like, wow, because like when Groot's handing out these gifts in the trailer, I'm like, that's a dude on stilts. That's a dude in a foam costume, which I was happy with. But man, that is
foam costume, CGI head or something like that, or CGI head and maybe just the face portion CG, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought that too, because when like is at the end when Kevin Bacon's with the old 97s, they're playing, you see Groot like kind of like like cheering. I thought that was a foam costume as well. But
yeah,
to say that like that's all 100% VFX, that's like actually really, really impressive.
Incredibly impressive. That's what James Gunn said, at least. He could be lying.
But
I mean, maybe it was a thing like maybe like someone's like in a VFX suit,
like
a mocap suit. But yeah, sort of like Rocket, and maybe they like when Star-Lord pats him, they put like some sort of practical thing on his shoulder so there is contact, and then they CGI around that, or maybe it is just completely 100% CG. Regardless, incredibly impressive.
Yeah, exactly. But man, like I love this like a lot, and like you said, Peyton, like this is definitely going to be like a yearly watch for me. And hell, I'm gonna watch it again like when it comes around Christmas time again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, same.
Shit, there's so much stuff because Iron Man 3, Hawkeye, and now this.
Right. But yeah, I had a blast watching this, and also like the soundtrack was great. I don't know if y'all listened to them, but the Smashing Pumpkins was in it. I recently been listening to the Smashing Pumpkins, so that made it even more enjoyable for me. But I mean, I can't really say enough of this. I really enjoyed it a lot.
That first song by the old 97s, the one that they go to Starland and they're like, hey, what's
so good?
What a great song. Because they started it and I was like, where's this? Because I'm always skeptical of songs and movies and show. I mean, I don't know. That's just who I am. But it was real good. I mean, I should have trusted James Gunn. I mean, that's got
James Gunn knows his music.
Bro has the most impeccable. He's also said on multiple occasions that the music in these things aren't necessarily stuff that he would listen to. It's just stuff that he knows that fits the story or something that the characters would like. He nails it every time.
Yes, because he's so involved. I mean, it's a true passion he must have for getting these characters right and getting these stories right. And he has he understands this. And it's so important. And I think it applies across the board for like almost every kind of storytelling. Character comes first. You know, the story is informed by the character. You get the character down, the story kind of, you know, again, it comes after. The story comes later. I think, and you know, that's the reason that the first Guardians is so amazing, because these are people we'd never seen outside of the movie. It's not like Avengers where, you know, everyone has a standalone movie and they come together. And, you know, to be fair, not that Avengers had a super deep story. It was just a fun little crossover thing. But like Guardians is like, this is our introduction to these characters, and we have to start them not in a team, finish with them in a cohesive team and a beginning of a family. And like,
show depth and characterization and deep characterization and motivation with each of their characters.
And when,
other than Groot, because he just says, I am Groot.
Yeah. but he still has
some sort of like backstory that you can interpolate because of his relationship with Rocket.
Yeah. And those little moments without dialogue, like the flower and the girl, and, you know, all those little things. And I think, you know, he's an important character in the movie, but it's kind of why Ronan didn't really have to be a good villain, in my opinion, in that instance, because there's so much interesting conflict and dynamic within the team itself. And these are the characters we're taking with us. And Ronan had connection enough to Drax and his motivation with Thanos, who had connections with Gamora, who whatever. So we're able to have this in the sequel, this super comprehensive, like everyone is affected by parental, like familial trauma. Like the first one is like them sharing pain, learning how to share it with each other and become stronger because of it. And then in the second movie, it's like, this is the fallout of that. You know, they all have to be a parent to baby Groot. In the opening montage, a lot of people were like, baby Groot dancing, like it's just like a silly little Marvel thing. But like in the beginning of Guardians 2, and it's a tangent, but beginning of Guardians 2, when Groot is dancing to Mr. Blue Sky, every character has a little tiny parenting moment, which foreshadows the rest of the movie. It's so good. And by the end of it, and then going forward, and you can see how Star-Lord is kind of like a pseudo dad to Groot. Same with Rocket. Same with, you know what I mean? Like, it was just really, I just think Gunn has just he's my favorite creative mind in the industry right now. It's just, I don't think I ever have, and I don't know if I ever will be able to connect to another group of characters as well as I have with the Guardians in the MCU. You know?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That opening is just phenomenal. Yeah. It's such a good opening. It's so fun. And it's always hilarious watching that scene, knowing that they essentially just copied James Gunn dancing.
Yes. Yeah, that was him dancing. I love that so much.
But James Gunn just knowing how to balance tone most of the time, and knowing how to tell a cohesive story while with an ensemble cast and giving every character their time to shine. I think the closest person that comes to him right now is Ryan Coogler, especially because both Black Panther movies are essentially ensemble films. Like Chadwick was the star in the first one, but he gave a lot of character to Shuri and Ramonda and Okoye and
Killmonger.
Yeah, and Killmonger. Like he's fantastic at it too. But yeah, James Gunn, bro's the king right now.
Well, it's crazy because Ryan Coogler was able to, in Black Panther 2, like Namor feels like almost like a deuteragonist. He doesn't really feel so much like an antagonist in the film because, and he is, but like, I don't know. He's so important. He feels so important. His motivations feel so important. His idiosyncrasies and the way that he speaks, his backstory, how he treats his people. Like him and Ramonda stole the show. I think they were the best parts of the movie. But, and as much as I don't like Letitia, I think that Shuri's an amazing character. She plays the hell out of her. And all of this is able to happen because Ryan Coogler is as talented as he is. And he corrected his mistakes he made, or the mistakes that were made. I don't know if he wrote the entirety of the first movie.
It's the same writers for both movies. It's him and another guy, and I can't remember their name, but
they kind of, my biggest gripe with the first one was Killmonger had amazing points, and I feel like he was mostly in the right, but then they do something out of nowhere so reprehensible.
That's what I said. That's what I said last week.
Where he shoots his girlfriend. It's like, oh, okay.
That's literally what I said last week when we were talking. I was talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier and why I don't like that, because the villain Flag Smasher girl, I forget her name again, was like, she's right, and then she blows up an orphanage.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. I was like talking about how Killmonger's like, yeah, he's right, but then he's like, let's kill all the white people.
No, they're obsessed with like, and it's weird because like Chadwick rest in peace, but T'Challa gains so much perspective from Killmonger at the end of the film, which is great. But it's like the film feels insincere. I think I feel like it doesn't feel as, it feels like it's holding back from what it really wants to do and say. And I think Black Panther 2 doesn't feel like that to me. It feels like it's like kind of balls to the wall. This is what we're saying. Namor calls Spanish a hateful language because of colonization. That's awesome. That's so cool that we get to see all of this. We're here to talk about colonization. We're here to talk about the trauma that these groups of people have been put through and have faced because of it. And it's like, and it's committed versus Black Panther 1, which again is like Killmonger's the guy with the point. And it makes him compelling, but just compelling enough to where, we don't root for him completely because he shoots his girlfriend and wants to do a Magneto. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, it's still, they write it in a way to where it's like, within the context of the film, it makes sense as to why he would be so violent and want to do these things.
Yeah, his motivation is clear. It's just, it's always executed. It's like, and I was even saying it at the time, it's like he's a villain at the end of the day, but at the same time, even though he's right, he shouldn't just be a villain for villain's sake. I think that's why like Thanos works so well, because like he's right. Overpopulation is a massive issue, but he's obviously like kill half of the universe is fucked. But like the way he has that reasoning in his mind about like killing half of all people, because like doubling resources, I mean, it's just going to overpopulate again. You'll have the same issue and shit. It works a lot better than a Killmonger or Flag Smasher or whoever.
I like also that kind of in the second, when like Infinity War, that's Thanos' movie. right?
Exactly.
That's his movie. And we get all that from there. And then in Endgame, the facade is stripped down and you just see he's deranged at the end of the day. I like that. I think that it does work in that case. Because like at the end of the day, at least what I take from Endgame is I don't think he really gives all that much of a shit. I think it's more about the mission and that he's doing it's his will
and
that
power.
He wants to impose and the power. And
I believe that he maybe it was genuine initially when his planet was dying, but then after that, when he actually started going his quest and shit, that's what he started to.
See how like much of a dick he is, and like whenever he's like desperate, like I think that's just like he makes him so hateable like instantly, and so that's why I think Endgame's dynamic, like it's so good, but and it's
also an earlier version of Thanos.
Yep,
that's angrier and not as wise.
Yeah. So back to Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't care about all this other stupid shit. I think Meredith Quill is kind of a baddie.
Sorry?
Huh?
Want to repeat that?
What?
Meredith Quill is kind of a baddie.
Oh my.
She is.
On her deathbed, bro. Like,
no, dude, you're nasty.
Like,
no,
dude,
that's what you meant.
No, dude, I meant in the opening of the second movie.
Oh.
At the Dairy Queen.
Oh, we should have said that.
Dude. Y'all are sick in the head.
You said it.
Dairy Queen is pretty good. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, Dairy Queen is a baddie.
But like, it's also crazy how like in the beginning of the second movie, Kurt Russell, that was all just makeup for him.
Yeah,
it wasn't CGI.
Amazingly. Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
Oh, Kurt Russell's amazing.
Oh,
Ego is such a good villain. It's so good.
Mid.
Oh, the one thing I wanted to say about the Guardian special, I love how they just started ragging on like actors. And like I love Nebula's lines like, wow, maybe actors aren't all pieces of shit.
Yeah. It's apparently across the internet, everyone remembers that line because he says shit, and it's like right at the end at the resolution of our Happy Christmas movie. And like I was on Facebook, and I hate that. I'm sorry, like I've already made a mistake going on Facebook, but you know the MCU people on Facebook are insane. But they're like, yeah, it was pretty good, except for the one use of the S word at the end of the movie. And it's like their use of shit was really funny. I think I thought that was really good. Also Nebula dancing, everything Nebula does in that special is just, she's so precious.
Yeah, I gotta watch it again and watch the background because I'm sure I missed a ton of shit.
There was a shot where the 97s when they were singing with David Bowie, David Bowie. Bro, yes, David Bowie. It's not Kevin Bacon anymore, but when they were singing with Kevin Bacon, which by the way, that was also a really funny song. If you were listening to the lyrics, it was pretty funny. But there's a scene where it focuses on Nebula dancing, and she's like, it is so, I mean, you know, you can imagine it. She's trying to dance and look cool and edgy. And her giving, oh my gosh, Rocket's present.
It's actually just Karen Gillan just trying to dance.
Yeah, it's actually, yep. She can't dance because she is
covered in makeup.
Anyways, this bald woman gives a little raccoon a present. That was so good.
It was so good. I was like, ain't no goddamn way. Where'd she get that?
Slay. That is just.
It was both the most ridiculous thing, but it was also super sweet. I didn't know what emotion to feel.
I felt that literally like. That was one of those moments where I was like behind my eyes. I felt a little bit of a something. I was
like Rocket's delivery, or Bradley Cooper's delivery as Rocket when he says Bucky's arm. Like he's so sincere. And I was like, oh, that's really sweet, but also, when?
Love that we've gotten to a point where Nebula is doing these things. Like, oh my gosh, what a character arc that she's, been on. And I think it's just it's awesome. It is really just fan service, but it's also just a great way to inform character, like those little moments, like having Nebula give Rocket a gift because she genuinely gives a shit and cares about him. She cares about him, just like the rest of us out here who have been watching from the outside. Like that's just, the same. And also Nebula sticking up for Rocket when Kevin Bacon called him a raccoon and she pulled a gun on him was so sweet. Yeah, sweet. I'm talking about it like this, but it was sweet. And Nebula was always the kind of person that, it's honestly, all of it came from pretty much the beginning of Guardians 2 to where we are now was her, like the majority of the legwork of her arc. So that's a lot of ground to cover for a character who isn't really a main character.
Right? Like the fact that she got so much development and care in Infinity War and Endgame, mostly Endgame, was crazy.
Yeah. Nebula deserves it too. She's an amazing character. It's just, I'm just glad that we have a Disney Plus Guardians thing that isn't episode 2 of What If, which is probably the single worst thing Marvel's ever done, in my opinion.
Can't believe
the worst.
Hard disagree.
Hey, man. That's fine. I just think I thought it was disrespectful to Chadwick, and I thought it was
Chadwick loved it.
That's good. That's good. I just personally, like, it felt like a really weird. The writers know people hate Infinity Wars thing with Star-Lord doing that, and it almost felt like some sort of a weird meta apology for it by making him basically flawless in What If. And I don't think whatever's interesting about that character is by virtue of it's Chadwick as Star-Lord, and I don't think anything else about that character is all too interesting. That's just, and I love that Chadwick was able to play him. I just don't think that the character that he was playing was written very well. He was flawless. Like to be and it felt even more like a mocking thing when they're like, oh yeah, he also reformed Thanos. Like, okay, like very good. The rest of your season also sucks, just so you know. Like, What If had the potential to be anything, and it just ended up being a worse Infinity Saga.
Oh, I liked What If.
Well, congratulations. You like the most creatively disappointing, most stupid letdown of the stupidest franchise of all freaking time.
Oh, I see.
I'm just kidding. I thought like the Strange episode was really good, but and the zombie episode I thought was terrible for sure. Also, I thought that was just like,
I agree.
oh my god, like, and everyone's out of character in it too. Like,
so out of character.
Like, imagine writing Bucky the way you wrote him. And I don't understand. He's like the worst offender.
Imagine Ant-Man just not giving a shit that Hope died.
Yeah, or Bucky being like, I know I should care that Cap is dead, but I'm not. Or that I think it was like Falcon or Cap. I just remember he makes it, this is the end of the line comment, and he kills Cap, who's a zombie, and it doesn't like or break him, and then Falcon dies, or the zombie version of Falcon, or whatever, and he's like, I know it should be sad, but I'm not.
They probably thought it was a character because of the whole they hate each other thing, but
yeah, like not. I mean, dude, he would still give a crap because it was Steve's friend too. I don't know. I feel like they didn't really give him a lot of credit in that episode. A Party Thor episode was fun too, but it was just fun. And I don't know, man. I just feel like we could have had like some really neat things from What If, but what we got was everything's just another Infinity Saga, which we've seen. We've already seen it, and we've already seen it done so well. Like we could have had none of them connect, and all of them be so weird. Like, what if Beta Ray Bill and Hulk were like space, like a buddy cop duo in space? Like, that's just off the top of my head. Or like, what if Ghost Rider had to protect baby Thanos so you could do a Cosmic Ghost Rider episode for What If? Like, characters we've never seen before. I don't know.
I mean, maybe because we're getting in a second season, so maybe it was like first season is like let's ease everyone into the idea of like what if is, and then maybe they'll go balls to the wall. I don't know. I mean, they're still going to use established characters and stuff, but I don't know exactly how. I mean, they played an episode at Comic-Con or wherever.
Yeah.
And apparently people like that, but also, I mean, I don't know.
No, I mean, that's good. And I feel bad. Like, I don't want to make, like, it's awesome if you like What If. And it's awesome if I'm glad. For me, I think out of, and I'm not even exaggerating, I think out of everything, even minus the Star-Lord episode, because I know that I'm definitely biased there, and I'm going to admit that. But minus the Star-Lord episode, even, like, if that wasn't even a part of the season, I would call it the weakest effort by the MCU. I think from concept to execution, it's just such a disparate, it's such a steep drop off to me personally. But it's not like, and it's not like I haven't judged it for the content that it is. And I know I'm kind of projecting expectations onto it and judging it for what I think it should be, which isn't entirely fair. But I do think that I've given it a fair shake and have judged it for what it is. And like, even just judging it by the content of its episodes, besides the Strange episode, which I thought was just really great. They were just kind of okay for me.
I mean, sure.
That was kind of a tangent. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's okay to be wrong, but
Yeah, but you'll learn to be right. I think one day, right? That's the first step, right? Is being aware. So that's good.
Sure,
that you're there. Yeah.
Sure. Torin?
Yes.
What would you?
I'm just listening. I'm just listening right now.
What would you rate Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special?
8.5 out of 10.
Slay.
It's not a 10 out of 10 because I have to watch it again to see every little detail in the background and to see the best girl Cosmo. So
Love Cosmo.
Well, what would you rate it?
Solid 10 out of 10.
Oh my god. Hey.
It's Cosmo. Hey. She's here to cameo this episode, guys. Everybody welcome Cosmo from nowhere.
I want to stab him.
Hey. No, but 10 out of 10 for me. But,
I'd give it an 8.
Solid. Yeah, but we all know the Playmobil movie is better. I don't even know why we're talking about Guardians this episode. We could just be talking about the Playmobil movie.
What?
Yeah.
Isn't Anya Taylor-Joy in that?
Yep. I think so.
Did you see what Star Wars Theory said about Andor?
Oh God, no, no. I'm sure it's bad. I'm sure it's terrible. I'm sure it's the worst thing of all time.
He said he didn't like it because certain buildings had bricks and screws.
Dude. Oh yeah, I think I saw people making fun of that on Facebook. Like, oh, look closely, bricks. Yeah, it's interesting. Star Wars planets aren't able to use bricks, even though Tatooine and like A New Hope was literally like based on like adobe huts and stuff. Like what?
That's crazy. Freaking Star Wars fan like recognizes architecture.
Yeah, literally. Oh my god, it is rare. It is rare. But he's like he's like a gorilla, bro. He's like a thumb. I don't understand what he thinks he's offering to the discussion ever. He's a talented individual, but it's also thematically, it's literally emotion. It's relevant in the context of the story that there's brick. It's relevant, for reasons I won't spoil for Torin, but Peyton, it's relevant.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's kind of like complaining like, oh yeah, there's a Yondu uses a flying arrow in Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay.
I saw someone say wait until he finds out about them using a Gillette razor as a communicator in episode 1.
Oh yeah. It's just
oh my god, they did use that, didn't they?
They did. Yeah.
It's crazy.
People are Star Wars fans are so interesting. It's just they're awful. I hate it. It's like the worst fandom to be a part of.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Horrible.
So who's ready for Guardians 3?
I have been since Guardians 2.
I am.
I love that the holiday special is just this wonderful pocket of joy just for James Gunn to absolutely crush us.
Yep.
Guardians 3.
Yeah, it's going to hurt so bad. Oh my God. You know, that leaked trailer that I saw before they got taken down, and like, I hope that they release the trailer in full soon. I know James Gunn's his explanation was CGI wasn't finished. He didn't feel like it was ready to show to everyone, but they just showed it at the convention.
Apparently they're doing a presentation at what's it called, CCXP or something like that.
When is
in
that?
Brazil? Like next week, I think.
Now would be as good of a time as any, but you know how Marvel is with their recent track record of doing trailers like 3 months before the movie comes out.
Yeah.
You know, Spider-Man was a huge one. Spider-Man was like the one. Everyone wanted a trailer so bad for so long. And then it was like September, late September, right? Or October.
Yeah.
When that first trailer dropped for that. And
crazy wait.
I'm like, dude, like, I just want to see something, you know? And maybe that's because so much of it was under wraps at the time for Spider-Man, but and also because the VFX team were brutalized, and it shows in the final product still. I think Guardians, it should be easier for them to just show footage sooner, especially since they have a trailer already put together and they showed it to people.
True. And if it's like, if they do like the 3 months out thing, then there's probably going to be like a Super Bowl trailer.
Yeah, yeah. Which, you know, it's really not far away.
Yeah,
considering
it's late December, or late November rather.
Yeah, like we have almost like 6 months, right? Like 6 months till Guardians.
Comes out May 5th.
May 5th, right? So that's like 5?
Yeah, 5 months. A little bit more than 5 months.
Yeah, which is so doable. And, you know, it's like, it's not like the Batman where the trailer comes out and it's like 2 agonizing years before the masterpiece comes out. That was painful to wait for. But, you know, I don't know. I just hope that they give us a trailer next week at the CCXP. Would be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that was Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. It was just so much fun.
Hey, remember when Kevin Bacon was watching the Space Christmas special in his home? Was that a real movie?
I have no idea.
I was looking at that, and
I think it is.
Me and my partner were watching it, and we were like, is that real? Or did they just make it for the movie? Because I don't put that past James Gunn. But also I figured he would more than likely use something real.
Could be Star Trek or something. I could see Star Trek doing something like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
Because Santa's like a huge Star Trek fan.
Yeah, Santa's canon to so much. Wait, Santa. I'm looking this up. Santa Star Trek. No, but they wear Santa hats in it. Santa Q. Okay, this is a rabbit hole. Sorry about that. No more. I just closed it. I'm not looking at this anymore.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. But I feel I wouldn't be surprised if it's real. Maybe there's something in the credits or something. I don't know. Or maybe they did film it for that, but they could have just, I don't know. but yeah, I think that's the show. Go watch I don't know why you'd still be here if you haven't seen the fucking special, but go watch the special again. But yeah, thanks for listening to the Avengers podcast. If you want to follow us, we're at Avengenerds on Twitter. That's AVENGE nerds. All one word. If you want to follow either one of us, you can reach me at @Zenith_ on Twitter. Where can they find each of you?
Nowhere. Follow our social medias.
Will?
For me, it's actually nowhere, like the celestial body nowhere. Like I'm living up there with the Guardians right now. So.
Oh, what's it like?
It's epic. It's Christmas time. Anyways, you can find me for real though at 2rock770 on Instagram and request to follow me.
Imagine being private. Couldn't be me.
Bro, I have family, dude. I have family. I don't want them to see what I post.
So do I. I should be private, to be honest, but I'm not. But it is what it is. We have a Discord if you'd like to join the conversation there. Those will be linked in the show notes. You can also check out our link tree for any additional links you may be interested in. You can also review the show in-app on Apple Podcasts. If you could leave 5 stars in a review, it would really help us out. Thanks again for listening to the Avengers podcast. We'll see you next week.
Later.